Hi guys, welcome to Talking Life Out with Joss the Boss. So this topic I'm going to turn to being a first generation Latina mother and woman in a new world where your parents can't really give you the tools to maneuver this world because they didn't live in it. They didn't grow up in it. They have the understanding of the country that they grew up in and that they spent their childhood in. So we kind of have some tricky space to work through, and we have to decide which direction we're going to take. Are we going to go with the Latino knowledge that we have, or do we think that the American setup is better? So a lot of the times being a woman and being a mother get really, really tight. I mean, it's just so tricky to maneuver it. So let's talk about motherhood for starters. So I feel like motherhood was so much pressure on the Latino side to be married and then have children right after, which for me, it kind of worked out that way anyway. But it's almost the unspoken word. And age also really, really matters. And who you marry really matters. I think all cultures that are first generation struggle with that because your circle of culture is one thing, and then your bigger social circle of just your friends, your family, your coworkers, your acquaintances, your high school friends, all of those people that you know are also part of the social pressure of how you should live your life if you allow that kind of pressure to seep in, which I feel like a lot of us do, even though we try not to. It's part of living in a society and being plugged into the way everybody thinks and functions, which we're obviously working on as a country. But anyhow, going back to being a woman, so self-care is something that our parents didn't really have time to do, and now we're the generation where I feel like we're starting to figure out that happy wife, happy life, happy woman, and then we have more potential to grow, and we're starting to realize how important it is. And even though I feel like Americans that have been American for generations, they've already gotten to the point where they understand that self-care is an important thing and have the ability to, financially, time-wise. Your job is not as set as when you're first starting, and you might work at a more structured setting. So all of that stuff has everything to do with the ability to even practice self-care in a relaxing, exercising, caring for your skin, stretching your body. I mean, really just putting on headphones and listening to music. All of that takes so much time and attention to proactively do that for a long time. So as Latinas, sometimes I feel like the older generation is either they bag on you for being so on top of your zen, and there's also other older ladies that admire your ability to take time for yourself and really grow yourself. My mother-in-law is one of those, and I think it's so cool that she tells me all the time, she said, you know what? You really know how to take care of yourself and how to take me time to just kind of regroup. And I think that's part of what makes you a good mother. And those are nice words to hear because it is a struggle. And at the same time, I know how helpful it's going to be for me to put on headphones and take a walk and just kind of, shake it out, you know? And I know it's going to feel amazing if I pop on a 15-minute yoga video so that I can stretch out before I go to bed. And I know I'm going to sleep a lot better. And I know that if I put on a face mask and the next morning my face looks nice and bright, I'm going to feel great that whole day and more than likely the next few days. And my kids are going to feel good. My husband's going to feel good. I'm going to definitely feel good. So I feel like all of those things as a woman get a little sticky in terms of the cultural pressure to be a great mom and be present, and at the same time carry your babies. Giving daddy responsibility in that sense is starting to shift, And I feel like the older generation is starting to support it a little bit more because they're understanding now that, hey, women are not home to wash, They're working too. And not only are they working, a lot of us are making better money or doing better. So the husbands also have to pull the weight because running a home in America nowadays takes two to tango in all aspects. That means, hey, if you see a dish, wash it. Doesn't matter who it is, if it's the kids, if it's the adults, you're a family unit and everybody has their pull. And that includes the two leaders, which is the mom and the dad. So not always is the dad working, not always is the mom working. If someone's home and there's something that needs to get done, that's the person that does it. And you do it, hopefully, as a team effort and with the mentality that you are serving your family, because eventually everybody's going to grow up and go their separate ways. So if you're able to tap into the understanding that these years, despite living them day in and day out, feel long, the years will not last a long time. And soon they will move out and we will be alone and there won't be dishes to wash in the sink. And the home will stay as crispy clean as you left it that morning before you went to work. But you're going to miss all the love and all the fun that happened within those messy, crazy, dishes piled high moments. But it doesn't mean that you can't have a system and you can't feel good about the way things flow. So that goes into the motherhood aspect of just going from taking care of yourself as a woman and now taking care of yourself as a mom. It does matter that your kids do their part. It's great that they feel connected to the family and that they realize that we need them too. If they're able to, why shouldn't they and why wouldn't they? Are we going to wait until our kids are ready to move on to teach them what it takes to keep a clean sink and to have dishes that are washed and in the drying rack for them when they live on their own? Or even worse, when they have a family, is that going to be a challenge for them? Or is that going to be something that he's so used to doing, or she, because since she lived at her home, her responsibility at some point, or his responsibility at some point, was to wash the dishes for his family, because a lot of the time, the parents do, and this is a great time where it's the evening, there's not much pending, he can take his time, and he can participate in something that's necessary for us to do every day as a family. So taking care of yourself as a mother and as a member of the family, I think also means allowing your team or your group, and especially your kids, some space to learn how to live their own individual space. How are they going to live in their space if we have to teach them and then we have to allow them to learn that, to be repetitive and to practice, and to not allow them to do a lousy job, because then they're going to practice doing that and then they'll always be crummy dishwashers because they don't pay attention to the muck, because nobody took the time to stop them and remind them of the full process. So it does take so much work to be an independent mother. But at the same time, I think that the work that you put in far outweighs the output that comes out from it. Your investment grows almost instantly. You'll always have clean dishes, and Monday through Friday, if that's their chore, you'll have dishes washed by your offspring, and hopefully they feel good about it, and you remind them how grateful you are as a family to have such a productive member of your family. So self-care also reflects in putting in some work, but at the same time watching your well-oiled machine and watching your kids feel proud and feel good about it. My son does our laundry right now and he does a great job. And it cracks me up because I was putting one packet of soap in our wash, and when he was doing laundry, he's like, "You know what, Mom? I think you're doing it wrong." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Yeah, you didn't read the directions. For a larger load, it needs to be 2 pods. You haven't been doing a good job." I was like, well, I'm really glad that you caught that and that you're doing a great job. And now I'm going to use 2 pods. So it gave him an opportunity to feel like he was, not like he was, because he actually was correcting something that I hadn't followed through and I didn't do a thorough job in reading the directions. And that's a great model to teach him that we're not always perfect human beings. I tell him all the time, these years that we're using to teach you is to prepare you for you to be a grown-up. And there are skills that I hope you don't have to worry about because it's going to come so natural to you, because there's so much to absorb in the world. And if you're busy, trying to deal with an upset girlfriend because you're not participating in your household, when you could just be a great active member and an exciting person to be around and participate and feel good about it, why not give him those tools and have him be that person so he can enjoy other things in life that are actually enjoyable more than washing dishes and vacuuming or mopping or whatever it is, but are still necessary tools to live in a clean home and live a happy life for the most part. So I hope this video was enjoyable for you. I hope you enjoyed the talk. I'm working on transitioning this talk to a more communal space, but for now I haven't had the time because time is of the essence when you have a family. So I will see you next week. Tune in on Mondays and have a great week. Just the Boss, talking life out. Hasta luego.